Hey, what's up? It's been a while. Hope you're doing great. I've been busy. I've been testing some new gadgets like scooters, vacuum cleaners, and things like this magical square. Or a rectangle. It's the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold7, and it's impressive. Every day that I use it and I look at it, I'm like, how did they do that? It feels like magic. But is it actually a good smartphone? I've spent about a month with it, and I have some thoughts, so let's get into it. So, foldable smartphones. They've long been synonymous with compromise. They were not exactly tablets, but also they were weird as smartphones. They had those smaller, narrow screens when closed, and they were often thick and heavy, like two phones stacked together instead of a slim, fancy device. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold7 changes that. It's the first foldable phone that I tested that feels premium and looks great. But is it perfect? No, not at all. For instance, even though it's super slim, and let me read you some numbers, it's 8.9mm thick when closed, so compared to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, that model was 8.2mm thick, so I mean, it's almost the same. And when you open it, it's 4.2mm thick. 4.2, come on! It's less than some ultra-thin tablets. It's barely enough for the USB-C ports to fit. But those numbers in the specs sheet do not take into consideration this. The camera bump. Yeah, Samsung went full out on the whole ultra thing in the marketing campaign. And they wanted to give this phone the same 200 megapixel camera as the regular S25 Ultra has. And it's a great camera with some depth to it, to give you some of that natural looking bokeh effect. But a lens like that has to take some space, and while you can hide it a little in a regular phone, in this one, you would basically be pushing it through the screen, which of course you can't do. So you're left with this phone that on paper is super thin, but in reality, not really. Okay, but let's turn to some positives for a moment. What I love about this phone the most is that it is extra, but also feels like a regular smartphone when you don't use it in an open mode. You can really forget that it's a fold, and I think it's a huge compliment. But of course, when you open it, that's when the actual magic happens. The flex hinge mechanism was redesigned for this new super thin build. It works quietly and smoothly. It fits the rest of the body almost perfectly. When unfolded, it looks like a real tablet without thick edges. I mean, even the iPad or the Galaxy Tab have the frame around the screen. This one doesn't. And the crease in the middle of the screen is still there, but barely noticeable, and much subtler than in older models. You can see it from the side, but when you're actually using the phone, scrolling or swiping, it's practically unnoticeable. And the screen also feels stiffer, bending less under pressure, making it feel more solid. Talking about the screen, when you unfold the Galaxy Z Fold7, you get an 8-inch inner display that's a treat for the eyes. Both the outer and inner screens use Samsung's dynamic AMOLED 2X panels, delivering vibrant colors, deep blacks, and excellent brightness up to 2600 nits, making them easy to see even in bright sunlight. The 120Hz refresh rate ensures smooth scrolling, and touch response is instant. The inner screen is perfect for getting more done. While traveling, I loved being able to multitask. For example, I could be researching, browsing news sites, or watching YouTube videos while taking notes in productivity apps like Notes or Notion. The bigger workspace feels like using two computer monitors, which quickly becomes natural and practical. Now, surprisingly, Samsung removed the under-display front camera and switched to punch-hole cameras on both screens. This change added an eye-tracking feature that keeps the screen on as long as you're looking at it. The visible camera cutout also improved selfie photo quality, which I'll cover in the camera section. The cutout is noticeable, but I got used to it quickly and didn't mind it while working, gaming, or watching videos. Another change is the removal of S Pen support, a feature found in older Z Fold models. Samsung chose a thinner design and larger screens over the S Pen, which might disappoint fans of that feature. One thing I noticed is that Samsung split the battery cells evenly to keep the weight balance perfectly, so holding it unfolded for a long time doesn't strain your hands. And that's where you see this attention to details that some of the Chinese manufacturers forget about. Now, the frame crafted from advanced armor aluminum paired with Corning Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2 on the front and Victus 2 on the back makes this phone incredibly tough. Samsung claims it's their most durable fold yet. To keep it in pristine shape, I tried some protective accessories. They improved the grip and added extra safety. Samsung offers a wide range of cases. Some of them do not only protect your phone, but also include handy grips for easier handling. At first, I wasn't sold on the grip idea, but the first time I used it outside, I was hooked. It's so comfortable, and my pinky, which usually holds most of the phone's weight, was thrilled with this change. Honestly, that's a hot take, but every phone should have a case like this. But if you're still not convinced, there are also cases with built-in stands, perfect for propping up the phone during video calls or watching videos. Let's talk about performance. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold7 is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, a custom-tuned Qualcomm chip that delivers massive performance while being super energy efficient, a must for a device with two large screens. Paired with 12GB of RAM, or 16 in the 1TB version, and lightning-fast UFS 4.0 storage, this phone handles multitasking almost without breaking a sweat. And I say almost because the battery, it drops down fast. The Galaxy Z Fold7 does an impressive job of saving battery when you're not using it, thanks to its well-optimized hardware and software. It can stay idle for a long time without losing much charge. However, when you unfold it and start using the big screen, the battery drains fast. Even with a brand new phone, heavy use like multitasking or gaming won't last a full day. If you're a power user, you'll likely need to carry a charger or a power bank to make it through the day. And charging isn't a highlight either. With 25 watts wired and 15 watts wireless charging, it's slower than most modern smartphones. For example, 15 minutes gets you about 24% charge, 30 minutes fills it to roughly 50%, but a full charge takes around an hour and a half. So the charging speed noticeably slows down as the battery gets closer to full. On the other hand, apps launch instantly, switching between windows is seamless, and high-end 3D games like Persona 5 The Phantom X or Genshin Impact run smoothly even during long gaming sessions. The cooling system is impressive for such a slim design, keeping things under control, and the phone easily manages two full-sized apps side by side or a floating YouTube window. You can drag to resize app windows, which boosts productivity and feels intuitive. Samsung's One UI 8 based on Android 16 is fast and polished. It's packed with features tailored for foldable devices like AI photo editing previews on a split screen or using half the screen as a laptop-like touchpad. Even some other apps are redesigned for this kind of screen. For example, a Google Chrome web browser shows you all the open tabs like you would see on a desktop version. We also have to talk about the Galaxy AI, as it's not just a buzzword. It's a set of smart tools built into the system that genuinely make life easier. Removing objects from photos on Samsung Galaxy devices is probably one of the best on the market right now. Maybe Adobe's Photoshop does it better, but it's a much more advanced and more expensive software. And you can also clean up noise in videos, transcribe voice recordings, or even translate conversations in real time. The Google Gemini Live feature lets you have natural chats with an assistant to get info, advice, or inspiration. These tools are super practical. I found removing people from crowded photos or translating foreign album titles while hunting for vinyl records really handy. But speaking of photos, the Galaxy Z Fold7's camera system is a major upgrade, led by a 200-megapixel main sensor borrowed from the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Powered by Samsung's Pro Visual Engine and 10-bit HDR, it captures bright, detailed photos with rich colors and a wide tonal range. It performs excellently in most scenarios, delivering sharp, vibrant images and a solid video at 4K 60fps or even 8K 30fps. Night photos from this lens also look impressive, and it's paired with a 12-megapixel ultra-wide lens and a 10-megapixel telephoto lens with 3x optical zoom. Plus, the phone has two 10-megapixel selfie cameras, one on each display. The foldable design can also be a huge plus for content creators. You can use the outer display as a viewfinder for high-quality selfies or vlogging with the rear cameras. And I can see how the large inner screen can be a plus for editing videos in apps like CapCut, though to me, editing with your thumbs on a phone, it still feels less efficient than just using a desktop computer, but maybe you're more skilled than I am. Maybe for you that could be enough. Okay, real talk. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold7 costs a fortune and it's not perfect. The battery can drain crazy fast when you're using that big screen, and the charging speed? Kinda slow for a phone this pricey. But dude, I've been using it as my daily driver for a whole month and I'm still obsessed. Every day I'm like, whoa, this thing is cool. The design's sleek, the screens are gorgeous, and it handles everything I throw at it like a champ. So if you're into that fancy tech and can handle the hit to your wallet, this phone is breathtaking. And if you made it here, you're breathtaking as well.
You're breathtaking!
Thank you for watching. I'm Miles, you're now miles ahead, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.